Welcome to Daily Meditation with Sangha Live.
A year and a week, you might say, has passed by. In all of the multiplicity of experiences that we have experienced, did anything stand out for you which you feel is precious, valuable, significant, which there is an appreciative joy about, which is nourishing? Could be obviously in a whole range of areas. The initiative of a creative expression. A new relationship. A retreat. Time in the nature. A song. A poem. A book. A one-to-one sharing with another. the experience might be something which occurred as a trigger to develop, initiate, get something underway. Might be appreciation of that which you have started, perhaps long ago, and have sustained the quiet, ongoing commitment. The recognition of the worthiness of your activity and the benefits for others as much as for yourself. Or it may be something has come to completion. It's finished. You are moving on from. There may be some disappointment, maybe some regret, but in the being there's a recognition of a certain completion, generating the space for something fresh in your life. Then we give reflection to that which has been and perhaps still is difficult. Sickness, illness, an accident. Loss, hurt, trauma, anguish, fear, habits, addictions, unresolved. Is this which happened or was going on in the past year or so still having its impact, its influence as consequences of what happened over a short or longer period of time. So our reflections are twofold. One is clarity about what was. Secondly, clarity about the influence, the consequences of what is. How it is or might be affecting our day-by-day activity. And finally, that which is a challenge, perhaps an ongoing challenge. It might be a mixture of the known and the unknown. One simply doesn't know what the outcome will be, how things will turn out. It is a challenge to stay with the known and to stay with the unknown. Whether it's a creative, inspirational activity, or whether it's a major occurrence in one's life, generating a lot of knowns and unknowns to attend to be steady with. So let us never forget that our current relationship to what was, to the past, matters as much, probably more, than what was. Final minute. Okay. When George kindly invited me to be with you for these days, and from previous conversations and also with one of the other team at Sangha Live, introduced a task for each day. And the intention with that is that there is a flow on from the session. It's an invitation to you for the task. I've got the notes here that I wrote, so I'm saying it now just in case I forget. The task for Monday, to reflect on 2024, first day of 2025, and write down perhaps 2 or 3 areas of what stands out for you. And with the present relationship to that, what is clear for you, and what else? What did I put? And what obstructs, what gets in the way of the clarity, because that needs some attention as well. There. And then I would like tomorrow, when we meet for the next session, which here in the Europe is Tuesday morning, there for you to put in the question, any kind of short response that you have. So it would give all of us an opportunity to see what may come out of your reflection. Much appreciated ones, difficult ones, and challenging ones. There. So in this talk with you, I'd like to go into this a little bit more with you. We look at this life that we are living, and probably the most predominant view that we have is that we are living in time and space. It genuinely can feel to be the authentic, true reality, to the point that there couldn't be any other way of looking. That is not a confirmation of the deepest reality, but it is a confirmation how much you and I, as human beings on this earth, are engaged and give huge importance to everything around time and space. So with time, 3 fields: the past, the present, and the future. How much our being is, shall we say, moving between any of those 3 areas and all the relationships with those 3 areas there. And the element of space with this, since they are mutually dependent, in terms of space, what happened? What space? That could be location. That space could be the space in our mind in relationship to what was. Right now, we're in a time, of course, various time zones with the International Sangha this morning here, there, and a certain space. A space in which, in my case, there's the computer in front, there's the space around, the voice is moving through the space in this particular time. So the world of time and space, past, present, and future, matters. It is significant, obviously, but we easily forget there's a certain social agreement about it, and I'll speak about that in the later sessions during the week. The point that I would like to make with you this morning is not only can our view of what was change, but to give consideration to what was is also in recollection changeable. So quite often you think, oh, my view may change, for better or worse, so to speak, there. But the past is the past, and that's how it is. There's a certain certainty about these things. What very easily takes place is, humanly enough, you go to an event which is important to you. You remember the generality of how you felt, how you experienced, and how you thought. It leaves an impression, wonderful, beautiful, insightful, life-changing, something new, etc. And that is followed through. But sometimes, here's the point, when something precious and beautiful and important has arisen for you, and you are applying it, the principle of it, for the welfare of you and others and whatever, it can be that it still, as it were, keeps coming up. It keeps arising. Not that it's intentional, like we did with the guided meditation, it just keeps coming up. When something keeps coming up, beautiful, should we say the other, ugly, hard, traumatic, difficult, or challenge, when it keeps coming up, there's a consideration there, and the consideration there is, do I have a habit of keep going back to? If I have a habit, it is in a way distracting me from a full, rich engagement with what is unfolding, with, shall we call it, this time and space. If I have a habit of keep going back to that. And our life can't be nourished fully because we've got this old going on. It might be in pleasant terms, nostalgia, I remember when, etc. And it might be in painful or in between. But it may not be habit. This is the point. So your past, in the ways that I expressed it itself, it may be regularly arising because you need to give it more care and attention. The Buddha used a lovely turn of phrase in the text about this. He says to squeeze the honey out of the situation. So in other words, there may be more there for you to reflect on, to uncover, to dig out, so to speak, either alone or with the good counsel and skill of another, to squeeze the honey out. What more do I need to see? Do I need to understand? And it's in the subtlety of the small points which you remember, and if the point is valid, it's not theoretical, it's not abstract, metaphysic, intellectual. If it's valid, the validity of it is not by a sudden, wow, amazing change of feeling. That's not the confirmation. The confirmation is that you've opened up the past in which a little bit more clarity has come, which is then applied. It is the application that your relationship to the past is opening up in a healthy and beneficial way. And I say that it is both with the precious, beautiful, enlightening experiences. it's with the really difficult, hard to face experiences, and it's with the challenging experiences of the known and the unknown. So please remember the point. Yes, we look at what was. Yes, we look at the relationship to what was, and we see the mutual influences which are taking place. It's also, as well, in the relationship. These days, I'd love to give you some stories and examples, but it's just going to be bare teachings and bare practices with you this morning. But the influences do not only come from the old. You and I, no matter what biology and the scientists and other people tell you that we're just a product of the past, it's just a small view. But more importantly, is influences clearly, in my view, do not only come from the past. What that means is that the senses, eyes, we have 5 of them, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and touch there. That immediacy of contact with the world has an influence on us there. And we, as human beings, as it were, carry the history, our history there, which goes far back, further than what we can think, by the way. And in that relationship, what situations in the present have an impact on the consciousness, which has the potential to revitalize in a healthy way or unhealthy way the relationship to the old. So the present, via the senses, has an impact, and awareness, mindfulness, is finding enough clarity to see which of the sense doors or which of the current experiences do have some influence on the relationship to the old and its impact upon us. And it is important to remember, as just mentioned to you, that nobody, at least that I've met, and I've been around longer than maybe all of you, nobody can have experiences emerging from what we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, which at times doesn't spark or bring about some influence of memory of the old. It's part of the dynamic of living. The question is, of course, if it seems to reinforce the problem, the unresolved, then that's a signal. This means more attention. It means more attention, not only to the past, but our relationship to the present in terms of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. But also in what arises from what you see here, it can touch us, and the release in a very healthy way can remind us of beautiful things of the past which have given us nourishment. And to just give one small, simple example of this. In the years of contact with people, and it's been a few, last year was 50 years of being a servant of the Dharma, so it's half a century of it there. When the experience is very, very challenging, when there is a genuine doubt, God, just don't think I can get through this. It's a nightmare. It's horrible. I feel overwhelmed. I can't cope. Therefore, some immense intensity affecting past and present there. Sometimes the reflections, let's say on challenge, not related to the current crisis or problem or issue, that those reflections may remind you, wow, what other difficult things have I had to work through in my life? What did I really find very difficult there, and just worked with it, got through it, found there was some light at the end of the tunnel, came out the other side, etc. And therefore the memory that one has a quiet inner strength to move through difficult situations is a means of giving some purpose to this current situation. And that is vitally important. In other words, in a really difficult situation in life, and we have to face them, this is life on earth. No one is free from the difficult, challenging situation, at least that I've met. And that sense of bringing purpose to something which seems so unnecessary, unwelcome, unwanted, inappropriate, why should it happen to me, view there, to find some purpose in it is one of the factors that enables human being to get through, as well as the good counsel and the good wisdom of others. So we're really looking at liberating, freeing up the being in relationship to the past, present relationship to the past, present relationship to the present. That's the theme for our day. Let's have a quiet minute together. If you have any responses, as George mentioned, you can put in the question box. And might just be a statement or a question, and I'll endeavour to respond to it. That's nice. No questions yet. And I'll just have a look at the chat. All right. Okay. So I'll speak, and if a question comes up, do feel free to bring it about. In coming back a little bit closer to time, and tomorrow I'll say a little bit about these 3 areas and my experience over the past year with you. So in coming back to the theme, in the exploration here, sometimes it's really, I find anyway, really useful to take a note. It could be written, or just the application of the memory, or just to record a few words or whatever. And the interest is actually in the question that you raise. Finding the right question, either on the beautiful, on the painful, on the challenging there. Finding the right question is a way of leading oneself onwards, to quote the Buddha here, leading onwards to something more insightful and comprehensive. So in the reflection, may not be necessary, you already may know what the question is for you, or you might begin with, what question do I need to ask to contribute to change or to a resolution? Or the question might be, I see something, it is valuable, I appreciate it, I am grateful for. What is the question to give support to the expression of what I've understood or have realized or experienced? What will help that to be actualized so that I can evolve as a human being into a genuinely fulfilled way of life? And similarly with the known and the unknown as well. What do I know? Bare facts, being steady with them without the projections. And there is the experience of not knowing. That not knowing may convert into a knowing, but it may not, it may never. Lots of things there. What the question might be around what will allow and contribute to me living and staying steady with the unknown. Just as we have no idea, or little idea, shall we say, of how 2025 will unfold itself. Countless conditions. What practice, what expression will support being with the unknown? Because the unknown is in life. Nothing mystical, transcendent about it. It's the fact of life. This dynamic of the known and the unknown in the world of time and space. Still very quiet in the Q&A session. So it's A without the Q at the moment. And if anybody, of course, wants to come up and speak as well, of course, absolutely welcome. We've got about 8 minutes. I'm going to have a sip of the water. Sometimes with these areas and there of this relationship to time, given the intimacy of the human experience, I would say probably the concerns may not be about oneself. The same areas, what's valuable, what's painful, what's unresolved or whatever, can be with regard to another. And if that person or persons or the collective means a lot to you, deeply important, through all manner of circumstances, there may not be a great deal of difference between the relationship you have with yourself and the relationship you have with the other. And so that relationship with the other may bring those three primary areas that I spoke about. And therefore, in the listening or writing or responding you bring the same mode of interest, curiosity, questions, so that rather than person have a fixed view, which contracts and almost controls the situation, your questions with love and empathy may bring about and spark an expansion and an opening up, which is genuinely beneficial. So the relationship we have with our own being and the relationship in these situations with another is not, pardon me, is not so different. So with the reflections today, both in the guided, the primary focus last year, this year, at times, may have been about somebody else or a whole group of people. And that's where your focus has been. And still the same principle applies because human beings are intimately close with each other. And the question there, how to distinguish between facts and projections. Really important point here. As a general principle, with facts, it is a bare attention which stays quietly steady and gives and provides the person who wishes to live with the facts some opportunity and space to respond to those facts. So it's in the response that you know it's a fact. With projections, it's an excess of influence from the past, as it were, on top of the facts, or not even in association with facts, which brings about an excess of thinking. It brings about contraction. It brings about desire in terms of pressure, wanting more, wanting there. And it is a problematic state of mind. Or it's a problematic state of mind through the habit of intensifying or exaggerating something, whether it's in a positive way or whether it's in a negative, or going back and forwards between the two. So too much movement of the mind is an indication of projection. Calmness contributes to being with the fact, and you may need to remind yourself, be with the fact of the situation as best you can in order to see what else can be discovered. So calmness is a key. Too much movement of the mind is projection. The Buddha's word for this is projection is papancha, P-A-P-A-N-C-A, and makes reference to it. And a liberated human being understands nippapancha, living without projections. Okay. What do you suggest for coping with my brother's cancer diagnosis in December? I can only make a small contribution here, and a little bit, of course. I do not know the writer nor the brother. But so in a way, it is principles. First principle, of course, is the maximization of love and support there. And really attentive to not only to the cancer, which is the physical, obviously, phenomena, the biological tragedy there, but also to the feeling, emotion, relationship too. And whether the brother is very open and sharing, or whether the brother is rather fearful and contracted, your warmth, your acts of kindness, the gestures that you make, it is in a way the planting of seeds. And the importance of this is that when a person's life is in a state of genuine insecurity, uncertainty about what is and what might be there has to be a person around who is anchored, who is stable, who is, not easy this, steady amidst the event. And then that person acts as a guardian angel, as a pillar of support there.
Today's podcast is an offering to you from our archive of freely available live daily classes. We make wisdom teachings and meditations as freely available as possible to as many people as wish to practice. You can help ensure we can continue to support a worldwide Sangha by leaving a review wherever you get your podcasts, by sharing this with someone who'd be interested, and by offering a small financial support at sangha.live/donate.